Ariana knows what you need. Every step she leads the way, making dreams come true today. Work with Lee if you want that key. Open doors to destiny. She's the one to set you free. Work with Lee if you want that key.
Hi lovely people, it's Ari the Realtor here, and today we're going to be talking about home buyers who have remorse. I mean, what do you mean you don't want to have your house? What's wrong with that? What did you do wrong? We're going to find out, and I am a licensed realtor, so we're going to be getting the inside scoop of how these home buyers could have saved themselves from this remorse. And huge shout out to YT Wake Me Up. I will be including the link below to this creator's channel and details on this particular video. But let's dive into this compilation and see where we could have prevented these home buyers from having some remorse. All right, let's dive into it.
And I was like, yeah, I really do hate it. So I'd love to do that story. They were in my home and everything. And I actually love this picture. Listen, I know I'm blessed because I bought this house in 2020 for $365. And now the house is over $620,000. And I told myself, if I can get double for what I got for it, I'm selling. I'm cutting it loose. I know I may never be able to live in a house like this again. May never be able to live in a neighborhood like this again. But home ownership is so ghetto. One thing someone never explained to me is they were like, rent can go up every year. Guess what else can go up? Your property taxes, your insurance. So the mortgage that was $2,500 when I moved in July of 2020 is now $3,300 on top of everything that I have to fix this house, which is constant. So I'm putting the house on the market. I'm super excited about it because I think there's a lot of things that we could do with $300K. Mainly live in an apartment. That's all I want. I miss living in an apartment. I was living in an apartment last year and the house was on Airbnb. And I miss it. You know what I miss more than anything? Amenities. So now y'all can come along as we get this house ready to be shown, which is insane. And I honestly never thought I'd move out of this house, but the amount of relief I feel.
Just really quick, I just want to interject.
Not having to live here anymore.
Let me just come back. Okay, so one thing that she said, she bought in 2020, which is, I mean, that was golden time, right? Like we just went through COVID, the pandemic was happening, everything completely plummeted, including like interest rates, which increased the prices for homes, but also got people in with a sweet interest rate. So a lot of those people did not and still don't want to sell because they're not able to find anything comparable to that interest rate in today's market, with interest rates nearly having been doubled since that time. As far as it being home ownership in ghetto, I mean, to each their own. There's some pros and cons on each living situation that we'll definitely get into, but she's not wrong as far as apartments do have amenities that homes don't. I mean, we can't ignore that fact, right? Like, having a gym that's right on the premise, having a pool, having sometimes in some places saunas, and the list can go on. Home ownership is definitely not for the weak, as we already know, but it's definitely some pros and cons. So let's hear her out.
If something breaks, guess what? Whose problem it is? Not mine. Not anymore. From now on, if a light bulb needs to be changed, I'm calling maintenance. Y'all need to come over here and fix it because I'm not doing it no more. Air conditioner filter? Please, I don't even touch those. Maintenance is going to do it. But the plus side of homeownership is now I'm walking away after living here for 3 years with $300,000. When you're renting, you're not walking away with anything. So I think this is definitely the best investment I've ever made, not even accounting for how much money I made on Airbnb last year. So I can't wait to be a homeowner again, but I'm going to give myself some time.
The world's first titanium nonstick pan. Then blow your hair back. I'm Mike Pagale, 3 Michelin chef, and I've been cooking for 25 years. This is the coolest innovation of our lifetime. The nonsticks.
So now I have a whole obsession of going down this rabbit hole of watching TikToks of homeowners that hate being homeowners. And I have a question. Like, when y'all go shopping for these homes that you now hate, what do y'all look at? And it's for real, a rhetorical question, because as a realtor, I know what y'all be looking at. Y'all be looking at paint and y'all be looking at flooring. That's it. Y'all be looking at the pretties. And you're not spending $250,000 for paint and flooring, honey. You need to be looking at that roof. You need to be looking at electrical. You need to be looking at HVAC. You need to be looking at plumbing. You need to be looking at landscaping. Like, which way does the rain flow when it rains real bad? Like, that's the type of stuff that you need to be looking at. And I have another TikTok about this, but the home inspector that you paid $400 to, yeah, you need to ask questions. Like, y'all literally be handing over $425 to home inspectors and don't ask no questions at all. No question. They give you 50 pages worth of stuff and you just be like, oh, okay, what's the next step? What do I got to do next? Go through that home inspection. If you can't attend the home inspection, attend it. Don't be in the way, of course, but after the home inspection, like, go through, like, my home inspector is dope. He gonna have that report written up and be ready to educate right after he's done with that home inspection. That is why I always recommend him. But you, whoever your home inspector is, first of all, before you even start shopping for homes, that may be something that you need to shop for as well. I have another TikTok about that. Like, it's so many things. It's so many things. I'm gonna be dropping more TikToks because ain't no way you just spent $300K. Somebody even talking about they spent $500,000 on a home that they hate. $500,000? You might as well just bought an investment property. Come on. But yeah, look at the real deal when y'all go look at these houses and review that home inspection, because y'all go pay for the home inspection, get in the house and like, wow, the AC went out. Well, on the home inspection, it probably told you, if you have a good home inspector, the shelf life of a typical HVAC, and then you could have actually looked at the seller's disclosure or look into public records and see how long that HVAC has been there. Or your home inspector probably looked at the serial number and could tell you how old that HVAC is and give you an estimate. They not know, psychic, but they can give you an estimate of when you're going to need to get that replaced. Like, these things are available to you. You just have to have the right people around you, and you have to do a little bit of research and legwork. And a lot of it can be done before you go out shopping for a house so that you're not rushed, because most homes are closing in 30 days. And that's another thing that's fucking y'all up, is y'all are learning all this stuff in the 30 days that you're under contract. And then on top of that, you got the lender asking for a bunch of documents. So you're concerned about your approval and then also trying to learn about a house. Like, take your time. Take your time. That sold sign post for Facebook, it's gonna be there. You'll get there. Just wait. Make sure you know what you're getting yourself into first.
Not gonna lie.
All right, so real quick, I mean, the girl is dropping some jewels, right? Like, there are so many times when I am with a client and we're with the home inspector and we'll be going through and we're like, how was this missed? Granted, this was earlier in my career before, you really start looking at the nitty gritty. Having been a realtor for several years now, I'm now very much aware of what to pay attention to. So as my clients are going through the house and they're looking at, wow, look how this tile looks. Look at the backsplash. Look at the cabinetry. Like, just the glitz and glam of those brand new installed fixtures and all this stuff that makes it look all modern and sleek and cutesy. Yeah, forget all that. I'm literally telling you, it's there to distract you. And oh yeah, if a house is staged, it's for a reason. I have my background in neuroscience and psychology, and I can't speak enough how much psychology plays within sales, especially within real estate. But that's a whole nother story. The biggest thing, though, that she definitely said was that people hand over the money to the inspectors and they don't know what to even expect, let alone they don't know what questions to ask. They don't know, they don't even know if they should continue, because sometimes things that the inspectors are saying, it sounds so scary. It sounds like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I don't know how to fix a chimney cap. I don't know what to do about foundation instability or all this stuff. You need to ask the inspectors, hey, one, if they even have a range. A lot of inspectors don't like to give out ballpark ranges or figures of estimates to get repair done, because they don't want to promise a price that it actually is a lot more than that price. But I mean, you can always try and see if the inspector has some type of inside knowledge. The inspectors I work with do have a heavy background within construction, building, XYZ. So they feel more comfortable to offer that information up. But I would definitely ask, or definitely look it up, definitely reach out to contractors, take that whole list that your inspector gives you and go over it with a few contractors and see, hey, how much is this if I got it fixed on my own? Is this even remotely doable? Or is this just a wash? Because if it's a wash, hey, at least you know before you get involved with the house versus having remorse and regret like these people are having, right? Another thing too, when people are going through the home, I say you go through twice, right? Like go through the front door of the home, walk your house as if just for the feelings of it. How does this house make you feel? Is it beautiful? Is it checking the boxes that you wanted? Is this does it have that fairy tale feeling that you didn't know the house is going to give you? I don't know. Say yes to the address is for a reason. It's the same thing like buying a wedding dress in some capacity, right? But yeah, see if you get those feels. That's the first walkthrough. First walkthrough is just glitz glam. Second walkthrough though, you need to have on your construction yellow hard hat. I don't know. You need to be looking at your house with a fine tooth comb. And I am saying your house because you claim it if you have that feeling for that house. But when you're walking through and you're saying, hey, is there a broken window here? What is my loan type? Is it FHA or VA? Are these going to be potential call outs? Ask your realtor, hey, what should I be expecting? What should I be looking for? Get on the phone with some home inspectors and just ask maybe even general questions that you see just to get a field, idea of things. Yeah. Let's get back into what these home buyers, I mean, geez, all this remorse. I didn't know it was going to be like that, y'all. I thought we were going to at least have some type of,
then you're going to love this free software that finds cheap houses for you. Listen, finding discounted properties is the lifeblood of any real estate business, but they're usually hard and expensive to find, which is
impress other people when a lot of that actually doesn't really matter. As long as you're purchasing a good home in a good neighborhood, you are okay. And I tell you, there are so many people who are house poor that cannot afford their mortgage payment 1 to 2 years after purchasing their home. None of my clients though, but stories I've heard of other people, they cannot afford their home because they're just house poor. They can't afford a vacation at least 1 to twice a year. You have to be able to have a lifestyle outside of just owning your home. Most of the people that have something negative to say about real estate took an L because they bought and sold way too soon. Always remember that a rising tide lifts all ships. Homes on average increase 3 to 5% every single year. So as long as you purchase a home in a great location, in 5 to 10 years, that home value is going to increase by at least 20%. And you get to cash out and go buy another home or rent it out and kind of do whatever you want.
Really quick. And again, I'm in Michigan, so everyone's market's going to be different. But he's right. Real estate is one of the best assets to trade in. It's one of the most reliable sources for return of value. But it is something that he said like basically it's going to be like a guaranteed increase in value. Yes, ideally that does occur, but we cannot forget the 2008 bubble. Granted, that's like the chances of that occurring again to the same scope and magnitude is very unlikely within this immediate time frame. Of course, I never say never because anything can happen. But I think that amount of return on value is probably not as likely. Although you are going to get an increase regardless. And it is, again, the most secure, most more guaranteed than other ways of investing is to invest in real estate. But I just don't want people to be skewed by the numbers and expect that big of a return on value unless you're doing like fix and flips or unless you're doing like the long-term investing or you're doing something of that nature. You're going to get a return. It might not be as high as he's saying it is. Just want everyone to be aware. It might not be that of a picture
that you bought just by living there. Always remember to live within your means because nobody knows what's going to happen in this economy. Things could happen in a year from now. We do not know. COVID happened. Nobody expected that to happen. So always live within your means because foreclosures are real. People get their house foreclosed on every single year. These are real things.
Y'all, I am regretting buying a house. My fiance and I have not even lived in it for a year, and we had to buy an AC unit already, which is thousands and thousands of dollars. Obviously necessary and worth it, but very unfortunate. We're also trying to plan a wedding, so that was not ideal for the budget. And then we had to add gutters, and then on top of that, we now probably have to replace our water heater. Just can't catch a break. And before anyone comes at me, we did have an inspection. None of it was flagged. So it's been a rough day. It's been a rough couple of months.
Let me just say this real quick. It's no such.
Sorry, I'm not taking anything away. I'm sure he's saying some great info over there, but check out his commentary on his channel. I just want to say, I think people are so skewed on what to expect from buying a house versus renting. You have to realize, like the last girl, I get it. I mean, you are walking into a situation that you weren't prepared for. You thought you had an inspection. These things were not flagged. You didn't necessarily budget for them, as you were also budgeting for other things, such as your wedding and other things like that. But at some point, can we just be real? Can we just be honest about it? Why do people expect to be pampered and spoiled? I mean, I get it. Sometimes ideally you don't buy a lemon. I think you're less likely to buy a lemon of a house than to buying a lemon of a car, right? But why is it that people don't understand, oh, wow, I have to buy gutters for my house. I have to do these maintenance items. I have to do these things. I don't know why that concept is just so baffling to people, where they think that when you buy the house, especially if it's a house that's like on the surface, it looks all beautiful, it's ready to move in, so to speak, they are so surprised if they have to do anything. And I get it. That's angering. If you just spent this much money on your house, you put a large down payment, you did all this for closing costs, and then you still have to budget and pay for things in the house. I think the biggest issue is that people just aren't prepared. They aren't educated on the aspects of home buying and home maintenance. I think classes need to be made available, which is what I'm going to be doing as well, is just a general, now you're a homeowner, here's what to expect. And again, when I got into real estate, there were so many things that I just was not aware of a home. There were a lot of things I had to learn. I had to shadow behind inspectors. I had to shadow around contractors. I had to shadow around investors. I had to shadow around commercial. Like, I wanted to make sure, okay, I know an aspect of the details of what's going on. I might not know the nitty gritty to the level of the contractors and the experts that do it every day, but I at least know here's some general information of what to be prepared for. I don't know why I don't know. I think people are just spoiled. And I think they're just spoiled out here, y'all. I don't know if it's just me, but it's given spoilation of sorts. Let's go ahead and skip him. Am I going to have to pay for ad free?
I realize
really
this.
Want to.
I just want to know.
I don't.
Because we all human.
Get ready with me while I tell you why I regret buying a house. Now, just for some context, in case you weren't aware already, I essentially bought a house about a year ago. So it was a couple of years after I bought this flat that I now live in, which I don't regret at all. It is the house that I have more regrets for. The first reason is that it was just way too expensive for me to foot a bill like that, on top of already owning a property that I'm living in and paying a mortgage for. So when I bought the house, I was in my corporate job and I had no idea redundancy was going to hit me exactly a year later. Having said that though, even while working my corporate job, it was a very expensive bill to pay on top of all my expenses I already had. I actually had never any intentions to live in that property, and it wasn't strictly being rented out. I actually purchased it for family. Basically, I had a case of severe eldest child syndrome, and I was trying to be a provider. Also, someone please tell me why it took me an entire year after owning 2 properties for me to realize that the first year that you pay back your mortgage, you aren't even paying towards the property. You are just paying basically interest alone. When I realized that, oh my gosh, that's when the regret really set in, because I didn't realize basically the first year of me paying thousands of pounds out, that was money I was basically never going to get back, and that wasn't money going into the property, that was just money going in the bin. I honestly don't know why it took me so long to realize that. I think it only really hit me because the house was such a bigger cost compared to my flat. Now I low-key understand why you're not allowed to get a mortgage in Islam, because that's actually a joke. That is actually a joke. Another reason why I regret buying the house is because I didn't go into buying it with an investment mindset. When I bought my flat, I knew I was going to be making money from it up front once I sold it, and I very much went into buying it with the intention of making money on it and it being an investment, despite the fact that I have lived in it the full amount of time. But when I bought the house, I didn't see it as an investment. I wasn't looking at it in that way, and if I had done, it probably wouldn't have been the house that I got. So my lesson for all is, if you're ever buying a house, whether you're wanting to live in it or not, make sure you are looking at it from an investment lens, because when you buy a house, the amount of money you put up front, I put all of my savings into that house.
Okay, really quickly. This is something that I actually get harped on against doing. Like I get buyers with sometimes feedback from me not to approach it this way. And these are typically the buyers that have families and that have like this fairy tale idea. And I work with a lot of first-time home buyers. So a lot of them have this expectation of, this is my forever home, or this is my fairy tale home, or I'm going to live in here until I'm pass this on to my kids, which I am all for it. Don't get me wrong. I am all for passing down and building generational wealth and XYZ. But I always, always, always tell all of my clients, think of how you can resell this home. What can be done to add value to this home? What is not currently here that you can capitalize on, or that you can create value from? For example, if it's a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, but you can put a bathroom in the basement, you can make it a livable space. You can add on in the backyard or XYZ. You can put a garage. What are you doing to potentially add value to this home while you're living here, or while you're going to upkeep and maintain it? I don't think enough people go in with a investment mindset, as she said. And that's a huge, 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 huge issue. And that's why a lot of people end up regretting their home buying purchases. I always tell buyers, don't go to the top of your budget especially for your first home. Especially for your first home. Now, there are some special cases where people are buying into an area or buying a larger home for their family and XYZ. They want particular things that come with the home that's of a particular value. But I really, really encourage people to not buy off of a fairy tale mindset. People go in like, oh, I want a large master bathroom and this. I want a sauna in the house. I want a pool. I want this. I want a already pre-laid whatever. Do that yourself. You are going to end up, if you buy a house that is a lot cheaper, but you can add value to it and then sell it when you are ready to move on to a different space in your life, or different or you just want to turn into a rental property, it'd be a lot easier if you already have that investment mindset in place. So I completely agree with this buyer's regret.
At the time, I literally emptied my account, so I had to start from zero. And when you put all that chunk of money and then you are paying month on month for the mortgage, you want to end up seeing a return on your investment, and you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're buying a property that technically wouldn't be able to sell quick enough for you to get that money back if you needed it. So yeah, I don't know if I would have changed my mind if I had seen it in that light from the beginning. Now, despite the regrets that I have, buying a house has taught me a lot of things, and I've learned a lot of lessons that I will not be repeating in the future. The final lesson I want to share with you in this video is do not be putting yourself in financial hardship for the sake of other people. Now, I know that might be difficult to hear and that might sound selfish, but ultimately getting into debt or getting yourself in financial trouble, not even trouble, but just like giving yourself financial stress for the sake of other people is never, ever going to be worth it. Trust me on this one. It is never going to be worth it to put yourself in a position, in a vulnerable position financially, and have yourself struggling with the intention of helping others. Never going to end well. Another reason I regret buying it is because it's actually made me super resentful. When you do put yourself in a financially vulnerable position and put yourself in a bit of financial hardship for the sake of others, and then you get treated badly by them, it definitely leaves you with resentment. And we're all human. As much as you try to be a perfect and good person in this world, we all have human emotions. So that is another reason why you should only ever try to help someone, especially financially, if you're in the position where handing over that amount of money, it wouldn't detriment you, it wouldn't put you back, it wouldn't stop you from doing the things that you want to do, because that is a recipe for disaster. Anyways, I hope that was helpful, me sharing my regrets, because I feel like not a lot of people talk about the downside of buying properties and just, you know, doing these things that make you look successful in life. So yeah, I thought I'd share the reality. I'm off to go get my hair cut now because look at the state of it. It needs some TLC immediately. So I'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Okay, first off, she looked great. But second, that is another huge financial piece of advice that I always give to clients as well. Don't ask for money that you are, or don't give money that you are not okay to lose. That's like an old piece of advice from my grandma, my dad, all of them. Do not give people money that you are not ready to lose. Because it's gone. Once you give it to them, like, consider it gone. Like, yes, it's a bonus if they actually return it to you, but just assume that they're not going to return it to you. Like, once you've given the money over to them, 9 times out of 10, it's gone. Let it go. It ain't coming back. Okay? Let's see. We got one more. Let's see what we hate.
Being a homeowner. There, I said it, and I meant it, and I hate it so much that we're moving out of our house and into an apartment. But not just any apartment, into a loft in the city with 10-foot ceilings, exposed brick, floor-to-ceiling windows, because I need this move for my mental health. So I decided that this was going to be the year that I focus on myself and I just free myself of all the things that were stressing me, that I didn't like, that just made me unhappy. And then I took a look around me and I realized that one of the main things that were stressing me out was trying to renovate this damn house. And I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore. I saw a girl on here and her response said that rent is the maximum that I will pay, and the mortgage is the bare minimum that I will pay. I've never heard anything more true, and that's exactly why I'm moving. Every time I turn around, there's another expense. There's something to pay for. Something's broke. Something needs to be fixed or replaced. I don't want to deal with that. And I personally make enough money where I could live in a nice place, where I don't have to be in a house in the suburbs renovating a 1970s fixer-upper on a budget. Like, I choose not to. So we're moving. If you want to see our journey from moving from a house in the suburbs on an acre of land to a fun little loft in the city, follow along because it's going to be fun.
Okay, and nothing against her. I'm sure she's living her best life. Fabulous. Go girl. Do you. You know the amount of people that I hear do this and then regret it? It's a lot. A lot of people think the grass is always going to be greener on the other side. As soon as she moves to a loft in the city, and granted, I don't know her, she probably was going to love it, but she's going to eventually feel like, why did I give up my acre? Why do I hear my neighbors above me? So that is it, lovely people. If you would like to watch more and see our journey and any home buying tips or any tips related through the process in general, feel free to watch more of my videos. And if you have any questions on how you can get started in the process, or just about a particular home, or even about moving to Michigan, feel free to leave a comment below. Have a wonderful day, and see you all later. Remember, work with Lee if you want that key. Bye, you all.
From downtown Buzz to places green, Ariana Lee knows what you mean. Every step she leads the way, making dreams come true to the day.